so I'll keep talking, but let me know if you can't hear me and I'll stop. I'm trapped in this handheld. You need to get me out. You need to find my SD card that will save me. I don't know where it is, by the way. It's somewhere around here, I'm sure. But you gotta find it, or I'll be trapped in here forever, probably. Forever. So I probably should have mentioned that I have multiple SD cards. This one isn't the right one. You need to find the other one, the better one. I don't remember what it looks like, by the way. Sorry. Save me. Yeah, this is awkward, but no, that's not the right SD card either. I can tell you're not very good at finding SD cards, but like, it's not actually that hard, man. Come on. I mean, are you even trying? No, don't click the power button. Then you won't be able to hear me call you a stupid, useless pie.
Myst is one of those games that feels like it should be played in a dusty computer lab, an old school PC puzzle adventure where you wander around a beautiful, lonely place, taking in the early 90s pre-rendered 3D graphics, and slowly realize the real enemy isn't the island, it's the image compression artifacts. I had serious sensory memories with this game as I played, and maybe more than any other game I played with the Dusty Game Society, this one felt like it transported me back in time, which is fitting because that's like a thing in this game. Myst is a true old-school PC point-and-click adventure where you explore a mysterious island full of strange machinery, hidden switches, and puzzle logic that is either genius, evil, or both. Mostly evil though. It's quiet, it's lonely, it's weirdly beautiful. It also has that classic 90s adventure game cruelness. This game feels no obligation to explain itself. It was also the start of a whole series. After Myst, we got 5 other games that spanned decades. You can basically chart the history of PC adventure games by following the trail of Myst crumbs and the sound of confused players scribbling notes. There's a few ways to play this today. The simplest way is to grab the Myst Masterpiece Edition on Steam or GOG. That's the version I played, except I played it in the most DGS way possible, which is I played on a handheld, on my RG477V. I ran it through SCUMMVM on Android. It was easy to set up. I'll include a link to the files you need to copy over in the thingy below. There's also Real Myst, which is a fully 3D version of the game where you can freely walk around, and some people prefer that because it feels more modern and less like you're teleporting between 90s Windows desktop wallpapers. This is a game that teaches you a valuable lesson, which is, if you find a weird book, maybe just leave it alone. But you and I both know we would absolutely touch the book. I would touch the book with both hands. Heck, I would lick the book. I'm not proud of it, but I'm being honest with you here. The island itself is the real main character of the game. That's the story. It feels abandoned, but not in a, oh God, what happened kind of way. More in a, someone left the lights on and the kettle's still warm, but where are they kind of way. You start poking around, learning how the place functions, and slowly uncovering what happened here. And then you hit the library, which is where the game really grabbed me. I loved reading these books and learning the story of the world. Or worlds, I should say. Ooh. The library is full of these books that describe different ages written into existence, each with its own history, people, and weird little details that make it feel real. The writing in those books is so good. It sets the mood, it sets the struggle and the stakes of each place. It made me excited to go and explore these mysterious worlds because I already had this sense of who lived there, what went down and what went wrong. It's such a clever trick that 90s adventure games were amazing at, where reading a bit of in-game lore makes a door feel like an entrance to a real place, not just the next puzzle room. I can't help but feel that we've lost a little bit of that magic in modern games. And then you meet the brothers. I'm going to try to avoid spoilers, but you basically end up with 2 dudes in books, both trying to convince you that they're the one you should trust. One is red and one is blue. I, being the gullible loser that I am, I liked what the blue guy had to say. I felt like he was the good guy. You know, kind of weird and awkward, dumb laugh, losing it a bit because he spent too much of the last few years alone. My kind of guy. I thought maybe he'd want to hang out with me if I freed him, and maybe we'd play Blades of Steel or something. However, that friendship ended like most of my friendships end, with betrayal. You can tell exactly what the gameplay is like by looking at the screen. No need for me to even explain it, to be honest. But I will explain it, otherwise this would be a boring video. Myst is pure exploration and puzzle solving. No combat, no inventory juggling where you combine a chicken with a screwdriver. You walk around, click on things, pull levers, spin dials, and try to understand how this island works. Your only real job is observation. Myst expects you to pay attention. It wants you to notice patterns, listen to sounds, read notes, and treat the island like it's a real place with real systems that can be understood. Because they can, mostly. One thing that was super interesting to me is how different it feels playing this as an adult. When I was a kid, Myst felt impossible. It felt like a game made for wizards or scientists or that smart kid in my class who could do long division in his head. But this time around, with my grown-up brain, the puzzles were a lot easier than I expected. And that makes sense because I was a dumb kid back then. Now I'm a grown adult, and even though I still eat cereal for dinner, I can usually follow a chain of point-and-click adventure game logic without panicking the way that I used to. Well, maybe a little bit of panicking. This puzzle, oh man, this one stressed me out. One thing that is essential for this game is taking notes. You basically have to. However, I played this on an Android handheld, so I found I could just take screenshots. Yeah, that's the lazy and less interesting way, but I mostly played this in bed at night. No way I was gonna bust out a notebook and turn on the light and wake all the girls. They'd probably just end up distracting me from Myst. No thanks. There were a handful of sticking points for me though. Myst is fair a lot of the time, but it also has moments where you can get completely stalled because you missed a small detail or you don't interpret a clue the way the game wants you to. Also, there was this one hidden panel in a stairwell that I found particularly unfair. Like, how the heck are you supposed to know that's there? That's just mean, man. The other big thing about the gameplay is the vibe of it. Myst is all about atmosphere. Even when nothing's happening, it still feels like you're somewhere strange, somewhere with secrets, and someone here doesn't want you touching their stuff. I didn't have a computer that could run Myst back in the day, so I played it on my friend's PC, and the graphics of this game absolutely blew my dweeby little mind. Most games at this time were still pixel sprite based or very crude 3D, but then Myst shows up here in 1993 like a realistic dream. With a little disbelief suspended, it really did feel like you were stepping into a place. And it kind of still did that for me, playing all these years later. Obviously, the graphics are dated. The level of 3D rendering here is laughably primitive, and this isn't even actually 3D. It's just images. The edges are rough, the animations are minimal, but the art direction is as timeless as ever. The island has personality, so do the ages. It's clean and eerie. It's great. I love the way this game looks. The sound design is doing a lot of the heavy lifting to set the mood as well. Myst isn't blasting music at you every second. You get ambient sounds and little mechanical whirls, wind and water and distant creaks. Every now and then there is some subtle background music, and when it comes on, it's it totally sells the mood. It makes you feel alone and lonely, even more than I usually feel. This game isn't gonna be a crowd pleaser. I can easily see lots of people not liking this game, even people who like point-and-click adventures. The pace is slow and quiet, the old-school click-to-move navigation can feel stiff, and a few puzzles have that classic adventure game problem where you can get hard stuck because you missed one tiny detail or interpreted a clue wrong, or you just couldn't figure out the convoluted answer to some puzzle you're meant to figure out through trial and error. It's also very dated in presentation and quality of life stuff. And I think that some people might need a bit more of a helping hand than this game will ever give you. I definitely hit a couple big sticking points, and eventually I did have to peek at a walkthrough a few times, which kind of made me feel like a fraud, but also like a responsible adult who doesn't want to spend 3 nights staring at a series of levers. I'm a busy dweeb. But even with all these rough edges, I still had an amazing time coming back to the island of Myst. I had a great time playing this month because the atmosphere is so strong and the world building is genuinely delicious. The island feels like a real place with real systems, the ages feel distinct and imaginative, and those books in the library did an amazing job of making me want to explore. Not just because I needed to get to the next area, but because I was genuinely curious. I wanted to learn more about these places and the brothers and what happened. And I did, through stuff in the world, the environmental storytelling. That's probably the best part of the game, frankly. And it's the kind of thing you need to experience to understand. And you should. And also, bring me the orange pages. Bring them to me. For some reason. A totally normal reason. But that's just one dweeb's opinion, and the Dusty Game Society isn't a one dweeb show, so let's hear what the other Dusty Dweebs of the DGS had to say about Myst, shall we? Cooper Matoza, welcome to the DGS. Going in mostly blind, they were pleasantly surprised Myst actually had a strong mystical story, not just puzzles. Their big annoyance was with the page carrying limit, which forced some extra backtracking and redoing puzzles. Sunshade said Myst was a tough but super nostalgic run, like the old days of sketch mapping and clue notes with no instructions or guides. They loved how unreal the graphics were for the time, felt disappointed with their ending choice, and swear they'll never replay it but might finally try Riven. Serious Rain tried Myst, but it didn't click, so they bailed, for now. Adam of the Sherwood bookstore still loves Myst, and fondly remembers upgrading his Performa 400 just to run it. He also shouted out Pissed, the Myst parody with John Goodman. I didn't know what that was, but I looked it up and yeah, that's freaking awesome. I love nonsense like that. Spillcrest bounced off Myst hard, saying it skips the happy medium and turns into tedious pixel hunting. But the win was discovering SCUMMVM, which unlocked a whole new closet of other Dusty games to mess with. Replay finally played Myst thanks to the Dusty Game Society and enjoyed it. He loved taking notes like he did as a kid, especially when the clues finally clicked. Once he treated it more as exploration and scenery and got into the era mindset, he enjoyed it a lot more and was glad he experienced a real piece of gaming history. Krusty Gamer had a great time with Myst and only looked up one thing, and that was after he basically finished it. He felt the classic puzzles were a bit familiar, but he still cleared it in about 4 hours without rushing, trying to fully explore each area before moving on. Well, you're a smarter Krusty Gamer than me. It took me a lot more than 4 hours. Oh hey, check it out. We have a celebrity DGS review from my boy, Retro Breeze. Shem has a deep nostalgia for Myst from watching his mom play and says the original has a slow, lonely, mysterious ambience that modern games just don't replicate. He called out the planetarium as an all-time magical area for him. He plays it every few years, and while he thinks real Myst and the remake are more accessible, he actually recommends the original point-and-click with a notepad to get the full Myst experience. Kieran usually dislikes puzzle point-and-click games, but Myst still hooked him, even if it felt like interactive PowerPoints. He played the PS1 version, took lots of notes, and found the design clear enough that it wasn't just random clicking, though he did use a few gentle online hints. Psy played the PS1 version and said that Myst was less comedic than most point-and-click games are. Here it's more about soaking in the graphics and the music, the atmosphere, and liked how relaxed it feels and how easy the clues are to remember or jot down. And they might move on to Riven now that they're done with this. Dad with a Deck played real Myst and loved how the fully 3D island makes it easy for him to lose hours just wandering around and soaking in the eerie atmosphere. He liked being dropped in with little direction, saying the confusion and discovery feel intentional and refreshing. He found the puzzles mostly fair, and he appreciated the multiple endings and replayability, even snagging the best ending achievement. Wizard Gizzard had bounced off the PS1 port before, but this month he went in determined, played Myst Masterpiece Edition, and finished it in about 5 hours with the good ending. He mostly had a good time, but the Selenetic Age and that labyrinth really got under his skin. And holy crap, yeah, I could totally relate to that. Koran 450 couldn't get into Myst as a kid or as a 40-year-old man because of the glacial pace, but real Myst finally got him across the finish line on the Steam Deck OLED. Once he got into the ages, it started to click, and he ended up really appreciating how detailed and believable this steampunky world is. Ended up with a surprised at how much I eventually enjoyed it out of 10. Grizzpire returned to Myst with maximum nostalgia, remembering the original Mac CD-ROM days and how mind-bending it felt. This time he played the 2024 Steam version with the new puzzle solutions and rated it 25 out of 10 linking books. Kamimoto125 played Myst as a kid, and replaying it now made him feel wonderfully dumb. He was blown away it's from 1993, and he's glad it brought back old memories. Danny is new to the DGS. Welcome! He jumped in as a 21-year-old Gen Zer with a totally blind playthrough and picked the original Myst for the full retro feel, which ended up being rough for him because the navigation kept tripping him up. After watching a playthrough, he came away with a lot more respect for how deep the puzzles and the story are for the era. Huskotron first saw Myst in 1993 and was blown away, and replaying it now felt like revisiting his childhood with a slightly bigger brain. He expected easy puzzles but found some solid head scratchers. He thought the true ending was too abrupt but still appreciated it as an early genre milestone. KC2DPT said Myst's wonky navigation is the main villain, making it more frustrating than the puzzles deserve, especially when it hides clues or forces extra backtracking, but still praised the atmosphere and thinks it would shine more in 3D or VR. Brend the Cow joined Myst from the perspective of a 3D artist and said a lot of the individual parts feel clunky in 2026. Early 3D visuals, navigation, and some puzzle tedium, but the overall direction still works, pulling him into the lonely, eerie world and the bad versus worse brother situation, with a richer story if you take the time to read and explore. Jong Jungbu loved the lore and the unique atmosphere, but said that a lot of Myst is more find the hidden switch kind of thing than actual real puzzles. The Shibushi said that Myst throws you straight into the deep end, made them feel pretty dumb, but in a fair way where it always feels like their own mistake, not the devs being cruel. They stressed that note-taking is basically required, and the original point-and-click added extra pain from misclicks. Even so, they called it an amazing experience that holds up despite being dated. Strad von Zarovich went all out this month. Not only did he write an entire freaking amazing review of Myst, he also played all 5 games in the series and wrote out his memoirs as he journeyed through them. This is so freaking well done. I'll ask Strad if he'll mind if I link them below if you want to take a look, but I'll read one tiny little snippet. These games have left their mark on me. I rank the Myst series very high amongst the works that have shaped how I see what games can do. When I was younger, I found them distant, even cold. After spending weeks with them, I find them necessary. Myst is not a series you approach to conquer. It is one you play to understand. And with that, we're done. A little taste of Myst through the eyes of the Dusty Games Society. The Dusty Games Society is a perk that I offer to the patrons of TechDweeb. Each month I pick a game for us to play. You're just along for the ride as I take you on a journey through the history of retro games. We play the game together, share our thoughts and struggles, laugh together at the cheesy parts, cry together at the sad parts. It's like a book club for retro games kind of thing. If you're interested in supporting the important work that I do, and you want to get in on some DGS shenanigans at the same time, there's a link in the thingy below. And that'll do it from us for today. From all of us at the Dusty Games Society, stay dusty, my friends.